Hey Jason, I did have a good Halloween. I hope yours was good as well. Let's geek out about this. I'm not going to work the whole problem, even though I did work it out here. You probably hear the papers, but when we're thinking about intervals and all the stuff that's going on, there's a couple of strategies. Number one, Desmos. Not a definite strategy, I guess, but you can literally type this in. So I took this problem from number 16 on your homework. This is one you worked on, and I literally just blasted it in, inequality and all into Desmos, and you can see quite clearly when you move left to right, there's a little bit of kind of, see it shades in right fast, but essentially we can see what the intervals are. They're highlighted in pink. So the interval from negative infinity all the way to negative 7, and because we have a dashed line here, that would indicate a soft bracket, right? Parentheses. And we have a big space here, so we use the union symbol. Then we have the interval from negative 5 all the way to 4. That's cool. And another big union symbol. Then the interval from 6 all the way to infinity again. And, if you don't trust it, you can kind of keep scrolling down until you get the idea. So this is always a great way to kind of visualize what's happening and also check your work. Algebraically speaking, I'm going to walk you through a little bit of this. So, I did this problem. We worked it out. It's absolute value. I have two equations. Da 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 da. I factored them out, right? And I got this. I basically came up with x is less than negative 7. I got x is greater than 6. And then I also got x is less than negative 5. And I got x is less than 4. Now, I'm kind of doing this like the dirty shortcut math, like the street math way. So yes, I know we're supposed to assume there's equal signs and we come up with our boundary points and all that stuff, but our boundary points are literally going to be these numbers. And just like you said with the other stuff, with inequalities, do the number line, friend. The number line, the situation, once we visualize it here in the number line, this will tell us what's going on. So I'm just going to put in those values. I'm going to write in negative 7. I got 6 up here. It doesn't have to be to scale. Don't panic about that. Negative 5 and 4, right? So I'm just going to put those in. And then basically what I'm going to do is we just check values, right? We just pick points and figure out if it makes sense or not by subbing in that value to our original inequality. I'm going to erase this stuff here. And again, not trying to bog you down with the algebra because I'm pretty confident you're good with algebra, but let's pick a point like I just said. Let's say x is negative 8, right? So the absolute value of, well, negative 8 squared is 64 minus 8 minus 31. That should be bigger than 11. And if you do that workout, in fact, that is a true statement. So what I do is I just put a little check here. That interval is good, right? We could pick another value here. If x equals negative 6, well, again, that's kind of no dice, right? That's not bigger than 11. We check here, pick a value like negative 4. That'll work out. You could pick a value over here somewhere. You could pick, I don't know, 3. What did I do? Yeah, I picked x equals 3. Right? That was good. So when I do that, when I put these little marks in, it's like between those boundary points is good. I know it's good because I checked those values, right? I also did x equals 5, just as a point right here. X equals 5, that came out good too, right? So we're happy with all of that stuff. So, sorry, x didn't come out 5, did it? I'm just looking at my notes here. 30 minus 31, yeah. 5 doesn't work. But then I checked x equals 7, and that works. So again, you can kind of hopefully see those the same type of thing, but once we visualize it all on the number line, then it becomes quite easy. I could say, oh, okay, well let's do this. This is the interval from negative infinity all the way to negative 7, right? And again, quite rightly, as you said in your email, because we just have an inequality, it's parentheses, right? Or soft brackets, what I call them. If there's an equal sign here, it's a hard bracket. And again, that kind of creates its own problems. When we do have an equal sign here, it might be a good idea to actually check negative 7 dead on, right? Here I check negative 8, and then I check negative 6. But if I had an inequality symbol here, you also got to check the boundary points themselves because that could be a part of the value too. So you need to check that to figure out, like, is it all the way up to negative 7? Does it include negative 7? You have to check that as well. So it really just makes more boundary checking for us, essentially. Again, this interval is no good. The interval from -5 to 4 is good, so we can put a union symbol, which indicates the break right here. Our interval from -5 to 4. Union symbol again, because this interval from 4 to 6 is no good. And then from, what do we got there? The interval from 6 to infinity, I believe, is good to go on that one. Okay, so that's my biggest tip. Don't worry too much about, I know MyMathLab and Help Me Solve This breaks it all down, but just use the tools that are already at your disposal. You know how to take down absolute value stuff. You make two inequalities. You know what to do with this. Get this equal to 0 and then factor it. Don't worry about kind of coming up with the equal sign and doing all that stuff. You know what the boundaries already are, but do that visual representation, because sometimes the intervals go this way, sometimes they go this way. And like this case, we have a combination of all kinds of stuff like that. So we really need to figure out those orientations, and how we do that is by visualizing it on the number line. I know it wastes paper. I know it's a bit of a pain to check. You can always check your work with Desmos, or, once you get the idea, I guess you could probably just graph it and figure that out. I didn't tell you that. But yeah, hope that helps, buddy. Let me know if it doesn't.